have preacher the white boy.
What?
Yes, indeed. I'm the pastor of Bedside Baptist.
On the podium
I
tonight.
attended every Sunday. Yes, indeed.
So, Senator, what are we going to discuss tonight?
So, for folks out there, you may have seen the commercials, been online and been like, why are we getting these random commercials with these random people I don't know? It's because it's election time.
Right.
Election
It's
season.
election season,
Right.
which is people's least favorite season after cuddle season and
Who's
cuffing
least
season.
favorite? This is like one of the best election seasons ever.
Nah, brother, the way apathy works is that we're trying to get people energized, but too often people ignore those posts, ignore those commercials, and then get surprised when they get what they get, like the guy in the White House. But that's for another day.
That guy.
But yeah, we're just here to really, help folks out because this particular election season is a little different than previous election seasons. Normally, people take the midterms for granted, and oftentimes they take the midterms for granted when it's an easy ballot. This particular ballot is a hefty one.
Okay.
A lot of issues that are going to be voted on here in the state of Florida. I mean, of course, there are midterm elections going on in a bunch of states, so a bunch of different governors, lieutenant governors, major politicos. But in the aftermath of 2016, we want to make sure folks are engaged and not afraid and are living their best lives and, more importantly, exercising their right to vote.
Yeah, so to talk about how complicated this ballot is and why we're having the discussion, look at the materials that we've been given.
Bro, we had to
and
do straight up
gifted
homework to make this happen.
by
Straight up
Dwight,
homework.
right?
That's the teacher in me.
Right. But it's necessary, and that's why we wanted to have this conversation because there's a lot of things that people need to be aware of. And, when you talk about the different amendments, people often complain that the language is hard to understand and to know if you're really supposed to be voting yes or no.
Right.
So we wanted to just have an open conversation. And regardless of how you vote, we're not here to sway you, but you can see who we're voting for. But that's not to
I'm
make
here to
you
sway
decide
you.
to vote. I'm just
Don't
saying.
have no political.
It's
I'm just
all
saying.
about the sway.
I'm saying.
It's all
I'm
about the
saying.
sway.
Ain't
For
nobody
those
else cutting us
who,
checks.
listen. But yeah, so that's why we're here.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, but before we jump into the amendments, because that's a challenge. I see Brother Hall's got this amazing picture
Ooh, Brother Hall.
that he's developed.
Yes, let's
if you
talk
could tell
about
us
it.
a little bit give us the background story.
Let's talk
on that.
about it. Let's talk about it. So this is a picture of my dear friend, and yes, he is actually my friend, Ron DeSantis, so I will call him by his name, Andrew Gillum, but I will also refer to him as the Honorable Andrew Gillum. You should call him Honorable Mayor Andrew Gillum because you don't know him. But this is the poster that will be transformed to his victory poster, so we just going to take the vote part off and put victory up there. So we going to do
That's
this
right.
like the Super Bowl. We calling it. Ain't nobody trying to win the Powerball. We trying to win this election. It'll last longer than that money. Maybe not, but I definitely want him to win. So bring it home. We got them for sale because we still need to put money into the campaign. And then after that, the memorabilia.
Wait, so how can people buy it? You said it's for sale.
I have no idea yet. They just going to have to find me on them streets. You going to have to run up on me. It's a lot going on right now. Actually, Sharon Letman and Hinton Battle, they'll be controlling the sales from the campaign up in Tallahassee. So myself and us at Medium 4, we just kind of contributed that over.
Nice.
We won't have the finances to make that $1 million investment. But
This is a way to crowdsource.
Give a historic piece of art to the campaign. And
Yeah.
we was able to give one to his mother. We have actually a large canvas one. It's about 22 by 36 or something like that.
Very cool.
So we're going to print it out. I'm going to give it to her. And then later on this year, I'm going to do some that after he wins, I'm going to do a limited run of 10 that's going to be like 4 feet big. It'll be an actual silk screen print.
Nice.
So those will be authentic art. They'll be one of a kind. So I'm only going to do 10 of them. Then I'm going to sell those 10 off, and I'm going to let Andrew pick where we should donate the money.
But I like that about his campaign. Art, especially from people who are in the community, that's been pretty huge because I know, was it this past weekend?
Yeah,
The canvas unveiling by Bethel Church in Richmond Heights?
We definitely, shout out to Dism 305 for the first wall that we did before the primary out in Wynwood. And it was an amazing piece of work. but it inspired other artists. So artist by the name of Vanta Black
Yes.
did a piece in Richmond Heights, not too far from where Andrew grew up. We were excited to see it. It involved children, so you have a lot of children's handprints. And then
that's dope.
Yeah, and then some quotes from some Overtown youth on what they think leadership is.
Right.
That are on the painting. So it'll be up through the election. His mom actually came by to see that one as well. So we're going to be giving that to her post-election, so she can have all the Andrew Gillum artwork.
Don't you love hearing his mom talk? She just got the sweetest voice.
First of all, Mama G is the coldest. I mean, you could tell, like, when he tells the stories about her being a school bus driver and you meet her, you're like, I get it.
Right.
I bet her bus was quiet.
Silence.
Yeah. We gonna ride to school in silence. Y'all got some homework to do? All right. That's what we need you to do.
No, that's cool. And I want to ask you, too, because I know that you've been out hitting the streets really hard for the election. How has your press run been going?
Oh, well, I mean, the press runs, just trying to stay out there. So just to give people a little background, so I work on the independent side of the campaign. You have in campaigns what's called a coordinated side, and these are folks that go in, talk to the campaign, kind of make sure that everything they do aligns with what the campaign is doing. Then you have folks like myself and others that work on the independent side, and we have the freedom to be more creative. So that gives us the ability to kind of speak truth to power, analyze things, talk about things in kind of a real and robust way. And of course, it oftentimes translates to what you saw in the debate yesterday, where groups that we're affiliated with get called out as being too radical and too this and too that, and we're just like, I'm here for it. I'm here for the labels.
Look.
But I think it's important to have every sort of part of the spectrum.
Speaking of that debate, though,
yeah,
can we
talk about that?
Can we talk about some of them zingers that came out yesterday?
Ooh, he was laying them out.
That boy sounded like a mixture of Nas, Jay-Z, Eminem, and Joe Budden at a debate.
Speaking of which, and this is the beauty of creativity, there is a mixtape out in honor of Andrew Gillum, like the Bring It Home mixtape.
We need to put a clip in the final edit.
You can't get that on SoundCloud. It is out there. But yeah, last night's debate was wild. He really came with the fire.
So y'all know my favorite, but I think we should at least name 3 of them.
Oh, no doubt. Well, we know your favorite, so you want us to name another one?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and name mine.
Go for it.
Mine is definitely, I'm not calling you a racist. I'm just saying the racists call you a racist.
That was an all-time favorite.
I'm in Atlanta when this happened. So I'm looking at it on my phone. And you know how when you just clutch your side because you just feel the pain for somebody else? I was looking, I was like, ooh. Then I had to get the...
You had to rewind it?
Say it again.
Oh, man.
And then
double tap.
Then somebody made like the little remix on it. or that's the other one, the black man.
Oh, yeah.
So that
of course, 99 Problems, but Hamilton ain't won. Listen, how they kept talking about some tickets. And it's like, dude, it's been funny to me how they've been trying to like find something to pin on him. And everything they try to pin is like
tickets
water.
Run, like $225 for the Hamilton tickets. You won't talk about $146,000.
Right.
But
He was like, let's talk about some real receipts. And I got receipts. Like, stop it.
My whole thing with that is, what I appreciated last night was he was just like, Hamilton tickets for some Beyonce tickets. That was a fair swap in the hood. And I was like, I'm sure every black person was like, oh yeah, that the Jay-Z came up. That was it. So Hamilton Schmamilton, I want them J&B tickets. Unfair trade, imbalanced trade, right? But my line actually preceded Mike's favorite line, and that was my grandma used to say, "A hit dog, a hit dog will holler."
Yeah,
I said, not bringing in the.
It wasn't even just the line. It was DeSantis' face when he said it. He was like,
he wasn't ready. He was not ready.
What does that mean?
What are you saying right now?
Right.
And was
these colloquialisms, I'm not understanding.
What's interesting about that
he just called me a dog, and I can't say nothing back.
Is that there's some rural Floridian white folks who are just like, oh yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
A hit dog will holler.
I see what you just said right there, and I'm voting for you now.
We relate.
That makes perfect sense.
At that point, we're on the same level. So, just so you guys know, we're voting for Andrew. Let's just make that clear.
I mean, it's all over the table.
Yeah.
But we wearing it.
It's a thing.
Now, everything
it's what's
else,
happening.
We're about to be unbiased on. So we're
as much as we can.
So even if the white goes left, I'm gonna try to keep it down the middle.
Oh, so you're not trying to sway no more?
I'm not trying to. for this part, I just want people to be educated.
Yes, exactly.
They can make their own
decision. Which is what I was
decision.
saying in the beginning.
You can graciously make a stupid decision. I just want to let you know that it's stupid as you're making it.
Right.
permission.
And we want to at least equip you with the information.
I want you to know you were being dumb, not afterwards be like, "Ooh, I didn't know." No, you knew.
Got you.
Y'all ain't dumb.
knew
If you
exactly.
watching the show, y'all ain't dumb.
You were
Y'all
walking
ain't
into
dumb.
this.
You knew what you was doing. So it's a lot of these things, guys. So
Yeah.
So to give a
we're
little,
just doing the constitutional amendments, right?
yeah, to give a little context. So the ballot in many counties is actually shorter than it is in Miami. Part of the reason
Take
that
a soda when you go. This is gonna be a long ballot.
yeah. Part of the reason that the Miami ballot is so long is that we have a trilingual ballot. So everything's explained in 3 different languages. Thus,
So it's not really that bad.
yeah, so it's not so, if you boiled it down just to one language, it'd only be 1 page front and back.
I got a drink just to get through this. Go
That's
ahead.
it. Let's get ready for
It's
the
already
journey.
sounds scary.
But a lot of people get overwhelmed because there are 12 amendments on the ballot. There are 12 amendments on the ballot that the language is confusing as hell, and people are going to be concerned. And the thing that we want to do, and I want to tell this to everybody and
Yes.
start this off rip, don't skip.
Don't skip.
Don't skip the questions. Everyone assumes like, if I don't like it, I'm just going to skip it and kind of go with it. The problem with skipping any of those items is that whoever then votes yes or no then controls the narrative and controls the outcome. So, you could have 1 million people voting, but let's say only 500 decided to vote for or against a ballot initiative. That 500 is going to be calculated to determine whether or not it passes. So think
Right.
about that, right? You over here skipping, thinking, all right, that's a vote. No. If you feel a sense of, if you feel it's wrong, if you feel it's a problem, if you can't understand the language, understand this, you can vote no. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, that the people who are trying to confuse you intended it to be confusing. And let's be clear about that. It wasn't, if they wanted to make it simple, they would have made it simple.
Right.
But when people try to overcomplicate things, they're doing it to see if they can sneak something past you. And so
Right.
people who are nervous about that, yeah, you have a right to be nervous because they're probably trying to sneak something past
So
you.
is that just a Florida thing? Because I feel like I've heard from people from other states say like our amendments aren't this crazy. Like the language isn't written this crazy. So because it's happened before where people are like, am I supposed to vote yes on this even though I'm thinking no? Like how does that work?
Well, a part of it is that there's 3 ways things can get on the ballot. They can get it on the ballot, 3 ways a constitutional amendment can be placed on the ballot. One is by the legislature. They can make a determination by a 2/3 vote to place something on the ballot. There are a couple of ballot measures that the legislature did put on the ballot. The other way is by a citizen-driven initiative, and a citizen-driven initiative is just that. You gather petitions. You have to get about 800,000 petitions gathered in order to get it on the ballot. But the rule for both of those is that the language has to be simple, has to meet Supreme Court muster, and has to be very simple, including the citizen-drawn initiative actually has to be less than 75 words.
Okay.
Right? So very kind of straightforward, to the point. And it also has to follow what's
You
called
said 75 words?
75 words max. Yeah. I'm just putting it out there, right? And
That's
it also...
like tweeting
Tweet.
4 minutes.
Right. I was thinking the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, and you also have to follow what's called a single subject rule, meaning that your amendment proposal can't be a bunch of different things lumped in.
But wasn't there something like about vaping and oil?
But that's the third option. The third option that happens every 20 years. Every 20 years, what's gotten together is called the Constitutional Revision Commission, or the CRC. And so every 20 years, this group of people convenes, and they're appointed by the governor, Speaker of the House, President of the Senate, and the head of the Supreme Court, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. 37 people get together, and they're the only group that does not have to follow the single subject rule. So anything that they propose can be multi-issue, issues that don't match up. They don't have to be germane to each other, so they can just basically make a mishmash of a bunch of things, put them in an amendment, and try to pass it. And about 7 of the ones that are on the ballot this year came from that group.
Fall in that.
Now,
category.
is this also, but do they still have to stick with 75 words?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
And they're not limited by the word count either.
Okay, guys, so this is going to be like a Don Lemon special. We might run over, but this is important to us to
Yes.
educate people. So
Right, because early voting has started.
Right.
Elections November 6th.
It's time to
This
go
is
down.
huge.
So if you're gonna go back and you want to watch this later, we just letting you know now this might run a little bit long because I feel as digital grads with technology, I'm gonna bring it back up again. They should have an app just like Beats was back in the day, and you should be able to say, I'm this, I feel this way about this, and I like these things, and I appreciate Barack, and they should let you know exactly how you should vote.
You should vote yes on this, no on that.
It should be an algorithm that once I tell you what kind of person I am, it just lets me know. But since we don't have that app yet,
We're going to do it the old
we're
school
going to do it the
way.
old school way and break it down. So should we go through these 4 as the primary ones, or should we just go through the list? Which list we want?
Are there any hot ones that we should
Well, so
talk
I'm
about
gonna go
first?
with the hottest one, in
Yeah.
my opinion,
Okay.
and that's Amendment 4. Right, Amendment 4 should be a solid yes for everybody. I don't care if you biased, unbiased. I get you want to run down the middle of the road, Mike. But Amendment 4 deals with the restoration of rights to those who have prior felony convictions, what we like to call returning citizens, because these are folks trying to return back to
So
their full
on the ballot,
citizenship.
I'm gonna, just so we can help some people out.
Yeah.
This is definitely Amendment 4, but it's the Voting Restoration Amendment,
Yes,
just so people know exactly what you're looking for.
absolutely.
All right, so this is what we're going to do.
what we're gonna do? Break it down. Set the ground rules, sir.
We're going to talk like we're talking to a 18-year-old, a 80-year-old, and a drunk 40-year-old. Okay?
Oh, what? Those are 3 different people.
Exactly. But we got to make sure all 3 sets understand it with what we're saying. So we're going to limit the big words.
No, got you.
We're gonna trump our vocabulary,
Oh, not trumpet.
bring it down, and just let's simplify.
Yeah, can we just simplify? To trumpet thus makes it incorrect.
Right, no fake news
You know, it's
or
like-
fake facts over here.
So let's just make it as simple as possible. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do it this
Trump
way.
says
We're
stuff
gonna,
like emphasis instead of emphasis. Okay, we can't have it like that.
so we'll name the amendment.
Yeah,
You'll tell it to us in the most simple form. You're talking
Gotcha.
to an 18-year-old, 80-year-old, and a 40-year-old that's drunk.
I used to teach high school, so I taught all those.
And then me and Toya are gonna give quick feedback, and then we'll go to the next one.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're going with Amendment 4.
Yes.
Give us your breakdown. Go.
I just did.
Do it one more
It's the
time.
restoration of rights.
Again, a drunk 40-year-old.
Right.
I'm describing myself. I'm
The
trying to
second
get
time. Here we go. So very simple. This has been in the Constitution since 1868 for 150 years, banning universal ban on voting rights for people who've committed felonies. This has been in the Constitution far too long. This would allow 1.4 million people to get their rights back immediately. It deals with non-violent former felons. So these are non-violent offenders for anyone who's very particular about whatever. These are folks who have not committed any violent crimes. And this is just a right thing to do amendment.
Right. So, and then also explain too that this is people who have served their time. They've gone through the process, and now they're back in society, and they're paying taxes.
Now, aren't we also like one of the only 7 states to have this in place?
One of three.
Okay.
Right. So everyone else is already doing it for the most
Yeah,
part.
so
We're
40
just
other-
still
47
like,
other states are like, we're not going to do this.
Hold on. Let me consult with our attorney. Should we give our opinion on what we think you should do, or can we? Okay. By the way, we're not giving legal advice, so we're not telling you how to vote. We're giving you our opinion.
Right.
Shout out to the Knight Foundation. So we're going to definitely say you're voting yes for Amendment 4.
yeah,
Just
I'm voting
because people in society have to get back, and there's already a bias in the justice system, in my opinion, and
Right.
certain things were done a certain way to sway things a certain way. So we elite, those people should have their voices. If
Yeah,
they're paying
and-
taxes and they're contributing back to society, they should be able to vote.
And here's what's crazy is Florida's one of the states, the easiest states to get a felony conviction in. I mean, you're talking about if you drive with a suspended license and get busted 3 times, that's a felony.
Right.
If you trap lobster out of season, that's a felony.
If you write a bad check,
If you write a bad check, felony. These are all things that people end up getting jammed up for. And so 1.4 million people automatically get their rights back and can apply to vote as soon as this bill amendment takes action. So this should be a no-brainer for anyone stepping in the booth. Amendment 4, big old yes.
Okay, so I see Amendment 1.
Yeah.
Amendment 1, this is the increased homestead property tax exemption.
Big words, big words.
Can you please break that down for us?
Simple breakdown is this. So what this does is it gives an additional tax break for an additional $25,000 of value in your property in a home that you own. The problem, in my opinion,
I was about to say, bring me in, because right
look,
now, Sway, I'm thinking it sounds nice.
It's like, ooh, taxes. But here's the problem with tax money and tax rebates, that taxes pay for things. You know, crazy little things like parks, schools, roads, you know, clean air, clean water.
Things we complain about.
Stuff like that. Right. And so, especially our property taxes, because those are our local taxes. And so, if you end up passing an amendment like this, what ends up happening is it costs local governments about $600 million in additional tax revenue that they could use for those things that you need.
Right, that they now have to find another way to get it.
Right, and really the catch is that for those who are super rich, who have very big homes, they'd get it. But for those of you who have mid-level, median-level homes, if you have a condo, you get zero benefit, especially if the value of your home is under $100,000.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good to understand.
So we're voting no for Amendment 1. So I don't need that little kickback, because it might help my pockets, but I'm ruining the community.
Right. You'd be like, hey, I got $25, but there's childcare, though? Okay. That I used to have for free? What happened?
All right.
That's what happened.
Got it.
Number 2, permanent cap on non-homestead parcel assessment increases. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
Hey, for all the folks out there who have like condos, second homes, those rich folks that watch Digigrass and Tech Beats and Bytes who have second and third homes, this applies to you.
Okay.
And basically what it says is that local government wouldn't be able to raise additional revenue off of your property. But for folks in the tech world, since I know they're out there too,
exactly.
Maybe you've heard of a little company called Airbnb, right?
Yes.
So this is one of those things where local governments have basically not been able to get additional revenue from folks who've been Airbnb in their properties, right? So think about it. You're on Miami Beach. You own a second condo, but you live in New York. And you've been Airbnb in that condo. People have been coming in and out, in and out, in and out. Money's been coming back to you. Money's been coming back to you. But no benefits actually going to the local government that your condo sits in. So let's say the sidewalk is busted. Let's say you're on Miami Beach and you need additional sand for
the sea level rise.
For sea level rise or whatever the case may be. You need to know that the value of where you are is going up so that you can get that additional revenue. So this would create limitations on that. However, I totally understand. For some people, this is one of those, I could go either way. But again, these are secondary non-homestead properties.
So are you basically saying, don't puffy the situation, don't come and take everything from Miami Beach and just go back home and just leave us abandoned?
Yeah, basically. Some of us still want to stay here and live here.
Think for the greater good.
Yeah.
Okay. So on this one, I'm voting how?
I voted no.
Okay. So you want to vote no on this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some folks would argue different, but I'm saying for those out there with those secondary properties.
But we're voting no so we can continue to rebuild and grow our city.
Absolutely.
So we got to give them the pros.
Right.
With it. The cons with it is you're paying more tax.
Right.
The future.
It's not even. That's the thing. It's not even if you're paying more tax. It's like right now there's a cap.
Okay.
And
what's the cap?
The cap is 10%.
Okay, and what are they trying to take it to?
They basically they're simply trying to make it a hard cap in the Constitution of 10%. Okay, it can't go up or down. It has
stays.
to be 10.
That seems fair.
It does.
I mean, taxes down there are what, 7% anyways? You're paying 7% taxes, so it's only 3% more. That seems fair. You're making your cash, give back.
Hey, I agree.
25 years from now, we might be underwater anyway. So.
Right, all that's washed.
So,
now I know we got
pun intended.
Now I know we got number 3 coming up.
Yeah, this is a pretty huge one. Lots of ads for this one.
A lot of folks been wondering about this. This is the gambling one. Right?
Okay, so number 3 is the constitutional amendment, voter control of gambling in Florida.
Yeah, it sounds very simple, doesn't it? You love that.
It does, but it's a lot of writing under here.
A lot of words for something.
So this is one of them groups. This ain't 75 words.
No. Well, no. This is 75 words because it's
You can do a
technically-
lot with 75
You
words.
can jam a lot in 75 words. And so this is supposedly a
As I count the words.
citizen drawn amendment, but the problem is that these citizens in particular were financed by a little corporation called Disney, Walt Disney World.
Oh, look at that.
The mouse.
When you learn the backstory.
The mouse is
I'm going
making
to put
moves.
Disney is backing on my note.
Disney.
Yeah,
Okay.
So Disney wants you to vote yes. And so the reason Disney wants you to vote yes is because Disney does not like the idea of people coming to Florida as a gambling destination as opposed to
They want
coming-
theme park
Exactly.
action.
They want you to come.
Mickey all day.
Well, first of all, Disney didn't even want cops to be filmed in Orlando because they didn't want to expose how much crime happens in Orlando.
Exactly. I mean, they want to make it the happy place on earth. They're entitled to do it.
Ain't nothing happy.
But there's a deeper thing behind it that people don't fully appreciate. So right now, gambling is controlled by the legislature. They're the ones who make the decision. The reason they make that decision is that gambling is a balance between the Seminole Casino,
Right.
Seminole casinos, and other competing casinos that we have around the state. You know, like your High Lie, your Dog Track, all
Mardi
those
Gras,
places that have
yeah.
Okay.
slot machines, Mardi Gras, exactly. And so right now, the Seminole Tribe of Florida contributes about $400+ million to the state.
Taking that note now. Go ahead.
Right? They contribute that back as a way of keeping those other casinos from having Las Vegas style games, right? So it's a non-competition
Right.
kickback to the state, if you will.
They like,
Yeah.
we want to
The
maintain
live
our
games,
presence.
Right.
Blackjack and all that
and all
stuff.
that stuff. The reason they're also supporting a yes on this amendment is they don't like to have to pay that. And the way that the compact works is that if there is any competition, the compact goes away. So they don't have to contribute.
They already own Pixar and everything
yeah,
else. How much
yeah.
more money do they need?
Listen, I hear what you're saying, but they want to get out of owing the state that $400+ million. And the problem is that the state hasn't come up with a formula on how to make that money up if
it goes away.
If
Yeah.
it goes away. So they're saying if you pass this, we get out of this deal, so we don't have to contribute any more money.
So that's a big no for
That's
me.
a big no.
Big no.
So the ones you're seeing,
As much as I like, actually, you know what? Just the thought. You know, you got to think about certain things. We are worshiping a mouse. Have you ever seen a rat or a mouse running around your house and you was happy and you
Right.
like,
You was not like, hey, Mickey,
it wasn't nobody like Mickey. You was like, call Terminex.
Right.
Screaming.
decon, or
Grown
whatever
man
that stuff
screaming in
called.
the house. Ah, where it go? Where it go?
you know,
Listen, ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time.
you know, if you grow up in a place like we did, you tried to spray with anything you had at the house, Lysol, Glade,
Bro.
whatever
About-
was working.
About
that
2
day.
years ago, we had this little situation. You know how hard it is to sleep when you hear little feet running through the walls?
Listen. Ooh, I remember my first time I was in New York in my brownstone. I was like, what is that in my kitchen?
It was like a cat. Big-
I was like, oh, my Lord.
Like an armadillo.
Jesus Christ.
Like, nothing about this is great.
All
But
right.
yeah, so
So we did 4. Now we're going to skip to 5.
yeah. Now number 5
Yeah.
is
Supermajority vote required to impose, authorize, or raise state taxes or fees. This one's short. It's a paragraph.
yeah. What is it's a powerful paragraph. You
Yeah.
know? It's basically what they're saying is that the legislature needs a 2/3 vote in order to raise taxes or do anything related to taxes. You know, people have their opinions about how taxes come about or how taxes originate. But the example I would tell people to Google the teacher walkout in Oklahoma or the teacher walkout in West Virginia.
Okay.
Because both of those states have this in place. And basically it makes it very, very hard to levy new taxes when you have to get a 2/3 vote. Because 2/3 is hard.
Yeah.
On any issue, it's hard to get unanimous consent, let alone 2/3. And so right now in the state, it's a requirement that 50 plus 1, a majority, have to agree to that. So in crisis situations and situations related to the hurricane, we saw recently with what happened in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Mm-hmm. When you get consensus, even though it's difficult, you pass things that are important. The problem with if this were to pass is that folks would then, be stuck. So if teachers needed new salaries or we needed to build a new university or whatever the case may be, it will require a 2/3 commitment.
So
of the
we're going no
legislature.
on this one.
I'm so going no on that.
Okay, so I want to step back a little bit, just some information for the people to know. for the constitutional amendment number 3, voter control of gambling in Florida, that our opinion is to vote no. The Seminoles have paid $17 million in support of this amendment, and Disney has paid $20 million in support of this amendment. So,
but Disney spends $20 million just on Mickey Mouse chocolate bars. Let's be clear.
That was a drop in the bucket. They were like, "Oh, get this."
And before we continue, I want to make sure everybody knows these are the opinions of Digital Grass Innovation. These are not the opinions of the Knight Foundation, who has graciously supported us, and just want to make sure that's clear.
Absolutely, and the opinions of Dwight Bullock.
Yeah,
wholly his own.
Right.
We are just talking.
Independent voters, listen.
There's 3 people having
mind.
Conversation, and the 4th person is the audience. So whoever's watching, you're just sitting here.
And
listening.
y'all could go in the comments, let us know what you think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you're welcome to your own opinion. And one thing I want to say, I know we're
not reading your questions, but you're gonna voice your opinion.
A third through. I just want people to understand that it's your right to vote the way you want to vote. But one thing I want to caution you on is don't get swayed by some pretty commercial, or don't get swayed by a mailer.
Because they got some great graphics going into them commercials.
Speak it.
Here's what you got to think about some of these commercials. Like, how is it that these issues, that a particular issue is generating that kind of revenue? Like, especially when we talk, I know we're about to move to Amendment 6.
Yeah.
And people have been seeing commercials about that and being like, yeah, victims' rights. It makes sense. But the question becomes, who's putting up the money for the victims' rights vote yes thing? Like, is it one of these like crowd-funded things? The answer is absolutely not. There's always some level of deeper corporate
and really
interest.
quick too, because I'm really enjoying this packet that I'm going through over here, because it actually gives you columns of like who's for it and who's against it. Where can people download this?
So this comes from the Florida League of Cities. You can go, if you Google Florida League of Cities amendments, this should pop up. It's a bright, as you can see, it's a bright yellow packet. The reason I like it is that it's eye-catching. It's
very well laid out, very easy to flow
good
with.
synopsis, easy flow. It helps you kind of get through certain things.
And people, this is the advantage of early voting. You can sit there and read this stuff and make your decisions. You don't have to even do it all in one day.
Exactly. And this almost kind of gives you your app idea, because it tells you like who supports and who doesn't. So you can see quickly like if your candidate is in favor of it or if your candidate is against it. So it helps you to kind of still vote along party lines if that's what you decide to do.
And yes, Ellen Lee, we are definitely giving hard truth. So I'm actually reading comments in this show.
That's awesome.
So I'm trying to respond.
Follow along. That's right.
All right. So we've already done Amendment 4. So it's my turn, right?
Oh, we did.
We
5.
on 6.
We just did 5.
We on 6.
Okay. I'm gonna read it from the ballot, then I'll go back to the notes. This is a lot. Amendment 6, rights. Yeah, I seen this one.
This one. Bro, this is jumbled amendments. The courtesy of the.
But first of all, this commercial is harsh. This commercial, but every time I see this commercial, buddy, I'm telling you, I'm looking at this commercial. I'm like, yo, that's real. Like I bought it up a couple times in the house. Like, this is what happened. And then they got what's the Chelsea Grammer? They got him,
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, they got him to do. I'm like, yo.
Right. You in Florida?
First of all, do you live in Florida?
Right.
Second of all, buddy, you had a hard life to be a comedian. You done lost your daddy and your sister to murders. Like, that's rough, bro.
Right. It hits home. So let's talk about it.
Okay, so
let's unpack this one, because you said it's loaded. So let's talk about it.
Rights of crime victims judges is the way it comes up on your actual ballot. The beautiful package we have reads Marcy's Law. That's Marcy, right? Mm-hmm. Marcy's Law, crime victim rights, judicial retirement age, and judicial interpretation of laws and rules.
So this is a compounded one.
Absolutely.
Go.
So there are a bunch of components, but the first line, and this is the deceptive nature of some of these amendments, is that they're going to lead with a line that's going to capture you and compel you to vote a particular way. So the first thing they're talking about is victims' rights, right? Victims' rights. And so people are like, oh, I got to support victims' rights.
Right.
Here's the problem, is that it is an expansion of victims' rights. Like, currently in the criminal justice system, victims have embedded rights, as do defendants. The expansion of victims' rights now basically gives personhood to corporations. So the example I give is that, let's say you steal a pizza from Little Caesars, right?
Right.
And in the state of Florida, as jacked up as it is, if that's your third strike, right, you could end up going to jail for 15 to 20 years off of that. So let's say you did a violent crime, you got out, You know, you did something else, end up going back for a little while, and now you steal this cheese pizza, and now you're about to go in for 20 years. Normally, folks, as a defendant, you're like, hey, listen, I hadn't done anything 5 years prior to that. Can I get out on parole? Can I do whatever? And let's say your lawyer is able to argue, absolutely, get on out. At your parole hearing, Little Caesars could now show up and tell the parole board that because you stole that cheese pizza and I think you will steal again, you don't deserve parole.
Because they're now taking on
Because
the personhood.
now they've taken on personhood and now have an expanded victims' rights piece to it. Where the
That's not in the commercial. I didn't get that.
The way the commercials,
I didn't get
all
that.
I saw was Susan or
not
whatever her
get that.
name was that got beaten up by her husband, and she wanted to know when he was getting out of jail.
Right.
I ain't think about it that
Yeah,
way.
no, it's deeper than that. Because here's the thing. Under current law, you get notified if there's an early release or if there's a parole hearing for, you know, if you've been beaten, domestic violence, whatever the case, that exists. So
Already.
So if you're a DV victim, domestic violence victim.
So hold on. So you're basically telling me that the commercials have misled me.
Commercials lied to you, sir. We ain't gonna say
Not
misled.
mislead. They lied.
They straight lied. They made it seem
It was
like,
playing on your heartstrings. It
That's
was
it.
like,
I'm
Tiny
hurt now
violin in you
because
like
I like Frasier.
right.
But like, do he know better? Like, I'm wondering now that Frasier know better when he sat down and
I
did that
mean,
commercial.
when that check got cashed,
I was about to say this. Look,
I'm
that
sure
check.
he discovered that it was going to be.
Okay. So as much as we would want to vote yes for this, we actually
Based on the commercial.
based on the commercials, I would want to vote yes.
Based on course you want to vote, people will be compelled to, but you want to fight that. But here's the kicker: the second part of that amendment
It's too much.
Because it's three
is-
parts.
Yeah,
We need
is
tequila
the
for this show. Beer was
increase-
not going to do it tonight.
Increase in a judge's age. So right now, the retirement age of judges is 70 years old. This would increase that to 75 years.
No, I don't want to do that. 70 years ago, we was definitely in slavery and Jim Crow. I do not.
You know, but here's how nefarious it is that we talked about we appreciate Gillum and we support Gillum. Andrew Gillum gets to appoint 3 new judges if he becomes governor.
Right.
Immediately.
That means
Because
a lot.
3 judges are set to retire 2 days after the election.
Right. But
Right.
if this happens,
But if this happens, they would get
5 more years.
Oh, so we definitely know. I'm just like,
You like the way they did that?
this is a strong no.
That's
They did
crazy.
that-
They
they did that
was like,
just for
oh,
y'all."
this happening. Sneak that in. Put that in.
You know, and they were,
Man.
yeah, man, welcome. You know.
And you know how many people that's suffered for somebody getting abused? or-
Right. That's heartstrings all day.
Which one? Okay, so this isn't the amendment. So you want me to read this part? Okay.
There you go.
That's the legal team out there, y'all.
Making it happen.
we
Do
got
it.
Keep us
do it.
well informed.
we got associate producers.
Right to that camera.
I can't look into that camera, bro. I gotta read. I ain't that smart. I gotta read this. I'm out of my field. This isn't. No, I'm just playing. This isn't the amendment summary that will be on the ballot, but the amendment also imposes a 5-year clock on the death penalty appeals. Consider how many stories you hear about somebody being released from prison after DNA evidence discovered 10 plus years later. Also, the various items addressed in this amendment should be addressed separately and not bundled together. So we still want to vote no? Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Give more reasons. Is that, you know, it
I'm
basically.
saying that I was already at no, but just in case y'all was worried
Yeah, just
about
in case you
voting no.
needed
This is even more-
reason
more.
to vote no.
So this is one I definitely think, as you said, because some people will skip. Unfortunately we know that, and it's many people that will skip. 6 is one that you definitely just shouldn't skip. Just
You should not skip.
do not. You shouldn't skip any of them.
Right.
But we definitely want to put no on 6. All right, Toya, it's on you. That's
Number
heavy though.
7. All right, so we're reading the ballot.
Hold on. I just want to let y'all know Weber Charles said that's a hell no.
That's right, Weber. All right, number 7. First responder and military member survivor benefits, semicolon, public colleges and universities. They match? They go together? I
go
don't know.
together. Just
Let's
so you
see.
know.
So what's this one?
What?
So again, this is one of those lead-in lines, pulls at your heartstrings moments, because
Right.
when you read the ballot, it initially will talk about first responders, death benefits, for surviving spouses. So you'll be like, man, these people whose husbands and wives has died in the line of duty, we deserve to, give them additional benefits. But then the problem, you could be okay with that. You could be okay if it just stopped there. The back half now deals with...
It's like T.D. Jakes doing a song with R. Kelly.
Right. A complete restructuring of the state university system and the state college system, right?
So let's talk about that.
Miami-Dade College, for those, who know the state
Florida
university
State,
system,
right.
You got 12 universities, FSU, UF, FAMU, FIU, all of them fall under the state university system. Then you have 28 state colleges, including Miami-Dade, Broward College, and the like. This now basically restructures the whole thing and forces the Board of Trustees of each of those institutions to now need a supermajority in order to increase or decrease fees, right? And the inherent problem for me as a FAMUan, shout out to the Rattlers out there,
HBCUs,
right?
Is that FAMU, like many HBCUs around the country, has its own financial troubles that you have to deal with primarily because many of those students are Pell Grant recipients, right?
Right.
So the way you have to fund your university now is based on now a decrease in Pell Grants, and the only way to offset that is to tweak with your fees.
Right, tuition.
In order to do it. It's not necessarily to raise it, but even if you needed to lower it or adjust it, it would require a 2/3 supermajority in order to do anything to make that move. And what people don't know about the boards of trustees of universities and colleges, those are gubernatorial appointments. So if you are at a school that you need, to move on something, you got a board full of conservatives.
It ain't happening.
It ain't moving nowhere.
Wow.
And so now it puts you in an unnecessary financial peril just because someone decided to restructure the whole thing on an amendment that starts off, mind you, with first responder and military members.
So we're going to have to...
That is so shady.
We're going to have to go Randy with this one from American Idol. That's going to be a no for me, dog. That's going to be a no. I just don't see it, dog. I don't see it happening.
That is just... So I get it. I get why they're doing it, but that's just horrible when you think about people, because now you're torn. Like, you're like, yeah, I want to do yay for the first part, maybe, if that's what you decide, but then you're like, no for the second part.
Right.
So can you do like a medium? I want to split my vote. Let me...
Put the maybe
50-50.
box. No, unfortunately, it's like you got to take the good with the bad. And what I tell folks is there's very, as we go through it, there's rarely you're going to find something where the good just
let me write hell up
universally outweighs the bad.
Right. I just don't have to say no. Now that was that's rough, bro.
So sorry to be the bearer of bad news.
But that's crazy.
That's snaky though.
That is real shady. So when they vote no, right? So for those, because they decided to try to bundle it and make it cute and make you pull in because of the heartstring thing, they can bring it back then later and then split it. Then that way
you could change it in law. Like, that's the thing. When we're talking about the Constitution of the state of Florida, once that's changed, it takes forever to get that bad boy out, right?
Right.
And so once you capture something like that, it's kind of embedded, and then you have to wait cycle after cycle, or see what happens this time or see what happens that time. Before you know it, you get the closure of a school, or you get the suspension of degrees getting decertified and all these other things. And people are like, well, why did that happen? And they'll sit there and be like, well, it's the financial this and they couldn't do that. But it's like, with all due respect to what they call the two flagship schools, which are University of Florida and Florida State, there's about
I agree with one of those statements.
Right.
All I'm saying is there's a $250 million annual set aside for those schools, for just those two.
Those two.
Just
everybody
those two.
else,
everybody else got to fight for their own. They actually already have a law in place now that puts all the schools into a competitive pool, right? And then the top 2/3 of those schools get the money, and the bottom 2/3 just got to be like, my bad. So it's almost like a high stakes poker game.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's a competitive thing where they're just like, if you're not meeting particular expectations, as a school,
right,
as we've laid out, you're not going to get your funding. But we're also going to tell you that these two schools over here are like super special, and we're going to give them
take care of them regardless.
We're going to give them super funds.
Well, Charles posed a question.
Crazy.
He said, should we, for the most part, vote no on amendments Latin and pork? And Sylvester said, vote no for anything you don't understand. We're not going to go there, Sylvester. There's a lot of things people don't
But that's why we're
understand.
having
We are
this
going to go there,
conversation.
Sylvester. Sylvester has been reading my mind clearly.
Right. But I think that's why we're having this discussion, because we don't want people to skip. We already talked
Right.
about how skipping is a no-no and how that can actually backfire because it's not really a vote, and you now have given your voice to other people. And then just voting no because you don't understand it. Like, no, you need to talk about it and research. Like, don't be
So,
lazy.
A quick sub break. Give a shout out to Timeline Brewery and Culture Infused Products. Hey guys, real quick, let us know. Should it be Culture Infused Products or Culture Infused Creative? Leave your comments at the bottom. Culture Infused Creations. Culture Infused Products or Culture Infused Creations?
For the label.
Weber Charles, I definitely expect you to vote on this. We had a little lawsuit, so we got to change our company name. You know, things happen in the world. Trademarks. So
It's a taste experience, is what it is.
Exactly.
Dwight got some of those sweet potato
Sweet potato popcorn.
sweet potato popcorn and sweet potato peanuts off
There
the
you
chain.
go.
So we're moving on. This is the one I was talking about earlier.
Number 9.
Amendment 9.
Good old
This made no sense to me, bro. You know how you read certain things and you was like, maybe I read that wrong.
Do it again.
Let me
Am
try
I
this.
slow?
Let me try this one more time. Florida ban on offshore oil. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm doing it wrong. As it reads on the ballot.
On the ballot, yeah.
Prohibits offshore oil and gas drilling.
Semicolon. You got to show it separate. Semicolon.
Prohibits vaping in enclosed indoor workplaces.
Another one. They match.
What? So I was like, maybe they don't want people to smoke while they fracking. Like I have no idea.
You don't want to blow up.
I have no idea what the hell is going on. So as we read it here, it says Florida ban on offshore oil and gas drilling and vaping in enclosed indoor workplaces.
Right.
Bro, so please tell me this came from your mashup group.
Yeah, it was
This
that
was
was absolutely a
All
match.
right.
This is
So-
another remix.
In my mind, I'm gonna switch it up. I'm thinking, hell nah, because this up here.
Something gonna be going on, right?
So y'all trying to slip some oil in here somehow. Somehow
is
y'all
laced.
trying to slip drilling. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I know you just vaping, but I don't want you smoking around me.
Right.
So
They trying to slip you a Mickey and you
I
ain't even know
definitely
it.
want to ban this. So I'm saying yes. But what I didn't realize is I'm just allowing you to drill 20 miles off the coast and you messing up the little bit of Florida we got left. So am I interpreting this right?
I mean, it's a good interpretation. It is confusing because it puts two things together that just really don't make sense. The argument from the CRC, at least from their vantage point, was there's already a ban on tobacco products. So they wanted to include vaping. There's already a ban on tobacco products in the Constitution. They wanted to include vaping in there. Then you had, of course, folks pushing for a ban on drilling. Here's the catch, folks. There is a federal ban on drilling in Florida waters already. Florida, of course, for those who don't fully appreciate, certain mileage to certain mileage is municipal, state, then federal waters. So when you're going out in the waters, what people don't know is that you're, depending on where mile marker you're at, determines whether you're in state, local, or federal waters. And so people are concerned about it. I literally just left a meeting earlier where all the environmental folks were like, we got to vote yes on 9. We got to vote yes on 9. The catch is, and only because I worked in the legislature for 8 years, is that if they want to drill, they're going to find a way to drill, even with something in the Constitution, right? Because even with the federal ban in existence, they still tried to drill in Florida waters. This one's very particular because it talks about the creation of outermost and innermost boundaries.
Where was that in the language?
I ain't see that part.
That's the catch, right? It's to be defined. It's to be defined. That's the beauty of legalese, right? It's like, so now you have to create the boundaries in which you cannot drill, which now, if you were to pass it, leaves the ability for them to say, well, this little 2-mile space is cool for drilling, whereas the other 5 miles won't be. That kind of thing. So it gives that flexibility. The flip side is if you don't pass it, then they're going to sit there and make the argument, people in Florida don't want drilling. See? Or they do want drilling. It's like, that's what it is. And so it's one of these weird catch-22s where it's like, what do I do? And then vaping somehow ends up
Right.
getting caught up in the thing. For me, and the reason I had to vote no was I agree that there is there's a fly in
Fishy.
the ointment.
Little nefarious
But then
activity.
let's take it a step further. For those of us who believe in marijuana legalization, myself included, right?
Mm-hmm.
Vaporization is a means of getting marijuana to people. So if you believe in the medicinal qualities of marijuana, right now, for instance, when we passed the amendment to make marijuana legal, part of that was to allow for smokable marijuana.
Okay.
The state still hasn't made that allowance yet. So even though it's in the Constitution, the state legislature still won't allow people to smoke medicinal marijuana. If you ban vaping in indoor spaces as a means of anything, because remember, you're not
Period.
just
It doesn't say
vaping
tobacco.
products.
Right.
You could vape anything. That means that once you are allowed to use smokable marijuana for a means of curing for cancer, for whatever the case may be, insomnia, anxiety,
Yeah.
that means that vaporization would not be an allowable means of getting that to people because it's banned in the Constitution.
But it says indoor workplaces.
Yeah, you say that, okay, but what if I got anxiety? So I can take a pill, right? I can take a shot for diabetes. I can do whatever I need to do to get my medicine to me. But if now you prescribe me medicinal marijuana, are you now saying I got to go outside and smoke it? Are you saying
So
I
you
can't
can get
vape
arrested.
it? Or you can't, and this is, that's
Right, the nuance.
It's being very narrow-minded in what vaping means in the grand scheme of things.
So
That's all. So that's why I had to vote. I mean,
So we're
again,
voting
for other
no.
folks, I'm voting no. I voted no.
So the Constitution Revision Commission vote, they voted 33-3. And it seems Florida Petroleum Council is voting against it.
Right. So of course, people don't want to ban. Oil companies don't want a drilling ban of any kind. And it's a tough call because of the way they did it.
So are
Yeah.
we basically picking vaping over oil? Like,
Right. Environment over.
Yeah. Environment over vape, vape over environment. What does all that mean? It's a tough one. I voted no. Not that I'm anti-environment by any stretch. I just think if you want to ban drilling, just ban drilling.
this is probably the first one I'm going to say we would disagree on.
Right.
I would vote yes for this. Because find a way to get your drugs. I mean, figure it out. But
Yeah.
messing up the environment is a whole different. A couple of people smoking weed, you can still roll a blunt if you need to. But messing up the environment and drilling into the earth, you cannot repair
Right.
layers of trillion-old soil. Once you drill into it, it's gone
But
forever.
also, I want you to remember, this does not ban drilling. This bans Atlantic and partial Gulf drilling.
It just bans offshore oil and gas drilling. I get it.
Right. So land drilling is still perfectly legal.
Right. Again, it's the
AKA
nuance.
fracking.
It's the nuance.
That we've been trying to ban for years. Is still
So
in
this
there,
is the
but I
first one
agree.
we have disagreed. I'm still sticking with my yes on this
I
one.
respect. I'm not trying to sway you, sir. I'm just letting
Right.
you
The sway is real. The sway is real. I don't know. I got to think on that one.
Why you gotta think? You
Just
supposed to be-
because.
You
Just
the
because.
tiebreaker.
Just
What you gonna do,
because.
dog?
Listen, I
Come
don't know.
through.
That's why I'm early voting, because I got time. I can sit and think
You
on
can
it.
early vote to November 4th, folks.
Right.
Polls will be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Number 10.
Yes, this is
This is-
ridiculous. Is what this is.
So hold on. So from my advisory board,
What's up?
we should vote no until the legislator makes it a single issue amendment.
Which is where I was kind of going before. Like, can they just split it up?
Like if you want to ban drilling, just ban drilling. What the vape folks have to do?
Right. Why they got to get caught up in it?
I
And
get
because
it.
like you, like I'm not a smoker, but I am pro marijuana. And then I don't know. So that's why I said I got to.
I'm
think
looking
on
forward to selling the digital grass domain when
Hello.
it comes.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
big, so big. It's gonna be so.
That's
big.
what I'm saying. All right. Numero 10. Number 10.
Oh, number 10 is just a stupid no.
State and local government structure and operation. I don't even know what that means.
So basically,
that's a lot and
it's
nothing
the
at the
state
same
trying
time.
to create brand new departments, and one of the departments they're trying to create is the Office of Domestic Security and Counterterrorism, State Edition.
That sounds like some Trump ICE.
Yeah.
everything.
So basically, everybody of color is now terrorists.
Exactly.
So we're gonna go with a no and just continue to move forward. some things will not need a lot of discussion.
Right.
This is one of them.
But the other part also requires every county in the state to have an elected sheriff, tax collector, property appraiser, and supervisor of elections. So this is actually picking a fight with Dade and Broward County specifically, hence why you see they're in opposition to this particular amendment, is because Miami doesn't have an elected sheriff, and the state's trying to make it so that Miami has to elect a sheriff.
All right, go to it. We're going to 11. That's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Right. It's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Do we have any yeses besides?
You got 9? You got 9, brother?
Right.
No, I switched on 9. I already switched
You
back.
switched.
You switch back already?
You switch.
That's why you early vote. I'm going back. So, Amendment 11,
Yeah.
property rights, removal of obsolete provision, criminal statuses.
There were 2 semicolons in between those items. I'm just saying, those are 3 things
Yes.
in the same amendment.
So this is from your mashup group.
There's a mashup group all
David,
day,
what are
baby.
we calling this group?
The mashup.
Maroon 5? What is this group?
What's it? Limp Biscuit?
Yeah, something. Gorillas. This is not working.
That's it. So number 11, and I got to give.
Hold on, let me do the long one. I'm sorry.
go for it.
Repeal prohibition on aliens' property ownership. Delete absolute provision on high-speed rail. Oh.
That's all they did right there.
Right line all up in it.
Oh. And repeal of criminal status. So you went from aliens' property to
Transportation.
to Brightline back to
criminals.
prosecution. Bruh.
I don't know.
They must have been vaping when they was writing some of these amendments.
They was trying to trap you. They was like, we gonna get them.
All right, so a couple things. We'll go with the good and the bad, right? So
Are you gonna read that one part? It's gonna be better in your voice. Read the quotation part.
Let's see. Ownership, inheritance, disposition, and possession of real property by aliens ineligible for citizenship may be regulated or prohibited by law.
So they trying to get some of this land back to run the bright line through?
It sounds that way, right? So what happens is our Constitution's been our Constitution for a long time. And
Right.
we've got some real old language referring to quote-unquote illegal aliens who are ineligible for citizenship not being able to own real property.
Right.
The problem with that is that if you don't know how many foreign nationals own property here in the state of Florida,
Right.
you are
The Chinese.
you clearly been missing some
I was about to
things.
say, don't they pretty much own Brickell in downtown
Right.
Miami?
So this is antiquated language because the Supreme Court ruled years ago that this was old language. They're just trying to officially clean it up and remove it from the Constitution. But they've also bundled in there and considering old language something we literally passed in the 2000s about high-speed rail.
Oh, because that was old school.
Yeah.
2000, like
Right.
1800s.
Yeah, so the alien property stuff is like 19th century. The railroad stuff was literally like Bush v. Gore, 2000. We put it in the Constitution that we're going to have high-speed rail. The problem is that it takes the state off the hook for having to finance that high-speed rail. Because the Constitution required it, asked for it. They've thrown, Obama sent down billions of dollars to try and get it done years ago. They rejected that. They've
Right, I remember that.
Skeletor, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
they've rejected any state
I'm
sponsored.
sorry, for you guys, Skeletor is Rick Scott.
Right. They've rejected all those things, and technically it was illegal for them to do that because the Constitution required that there be some high-speed rail that was state-sponsored and subsidized. The issue with Brightline or the issue with, Florida East Coast Railway, these are all private companies that are building their own thing and then able to set their price. So here's an example. Brightline's relatively easily priced now. State legislature, Brightline decides to sell their tickets for $60 because they can.
They can, right.
State, you as a person say, all right, well, is there any way we can get that subsidized by the state? Once this language is gone, the state's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. That's dumb.
Ain't no language. No, we don't do high-speed rail. We're like, what you mean? Remember that constitutional amendment you voted for to get rid of language? We have no financial obligation. We have no moral obligation. We have no obligation.
No skin
at
in the
all
game. That's dumb.
To now require ourselves to have to kick out money for.
So we're voting
I'm voting no.
Against.
So a lot of no's.
Yeah, but I will say one thing, and this is a piece that we as a group need to talk about, is they also include in here a prohibition on retroactive application for changes in criminal law. So for the lawyers in the room, this is something that like the ACLU really, really wants, because if, let's say, marijuana legalization were to pass, you could then go back and get people released from prison for marijuana possession.
Which we know they ain't gonna really let that happen anyways.
Right. Which is why I said this. They're like,
so they can argue that point.
We not stopping. We going to we know. We already said it's running long. We good. It's on long.
But as you can see, that one's also still under court review, so that might be stricken altogether anyway.
well, for those who've already voted, because you already voted, so you voted on this one, yeah?
Oh yeah, I voted no on that already.
But you said it may be stricken from what?
It may be stricken. I mean, it may be considered illegal. Like the courts may throw it out altogether. So even though you're voting on it,
It could still be thrown out.
It's still under judicial review.
Well, hopefully that happens.
Yeah,
because that's crazy.
Goes away.
And they separate the issues.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take. We ain't taking a break, but if y'all want to get some beer, we about to refill.
Bring out the growlers.
Right. We only got 2 more, y'all. Y'all hang in there. We on 12. We on 12.
We almost there.
Almost
a
there.
lot.
Almost there. Look, where my paper so I can read the next one?
Go ahead.
Where we at? Am I on the right thing? Where to go? I lost it. Oh, here we are. Here we are.
A lot of no's. Just a lot of no's.
All right. Number 12. Lobbying and abuse of office by public officers.
Right.
And the yellow sheet says lobbying restrictions for elected officials. All right, let's break that down.
So this is currently there's a 2-year ban on lobbying for elected officials. Once you leave office, you have to be 2 years removed in order to be a lobbyist. This would increase it to 6 years, and create some level of penalty. But it also says that it's not going to take effect until December 31st of 2022. So that's just conveniently long enough for anyone who passes this
to get their money.
to get through. So
we gonna take care of y'all, but them.
Real slippery slope, right? Like for anybody in the future, y'all
gotta suffer.
But for us right now,
we trying to get this check.
Trying to get this money right now. But
Maybe
but the
real gangsters is in his office, bro.
Right. But the real catch to this is that people don't appreciate the notion of what a lobbyist means, right? So a lobbyist by definition has to be a registered lobbyist with the state of Florida, right? So they actually keep a list of who's a registered lobbyist in the state of Florida. However, we have what's called a people's capital. So anyone and everyone can go in that capital and advocate or consult for whatever issue they want to at any point in their life. Meaning that you could not be a lobbyist.
Right, and become one.
But just be a consultant. And legally.
So I can do that. I'm like, I want to be a consultant on marijuana.
Right. So
let's say.
Get a little bit of money put in your pocket and go in there and convince some people.
So let's say you're the governor, state of Florida, and this were to pass.
Skeletor.
And it says 6 years before you can become a registered lobbyist. The day after you become a private citizen, someone can be like, we'd like to hire you as a consultant here at our firm to consult us on our lobbying practices. So he would just basically talk to, like, you're the lobbyist. I talk to you and be like, hey, listen, here's who you should talk to.
Right.
I'll make the phone call, set up the appointment.
You go.
You go. Tell him I sent you.
This is tough, bro. All right, so that's a no. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the things. People find ways to do things, but they want to sound tough on corruption.
Exactly.
I'm tough on corruption.
Right. They got all that talk and smoke and debate. Because this is where that stuff is. It's right here.
Yeah.
They so full of it.
You sounded like somebody auntie over there. this where that stuff is. I don't know what y'all doing over there.
Because that makes you mad.
Yeah.
Y'all need to come in the house and quit playing.
Probably them lights on outside.
I know you saw them street lights. I know you saw them.
Ain't going to be air conditioning in the whole neighborhood now.
Shut the door.
Right, you don't live in a barn.
Don't be inviting everybody over for dinner. All
Open
right.
the screen, though. Turn the AC off.
So this is... If you're hot, take off that jacket. If you're cold, put on some more clothes. So this is the last one, right?
Yeah. And this is the only.
Lucky number 13.
This is the only single issue that the bundling folks decided was deserving of a single issue, mind you.
Okay.
Like they bundled all this other stuff and decided for this one,
We're going to keep it simple.
we just want to keep it. And this one actually should have been bundled, and I'm going to tell you why. Go ahead.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, number 13
Yeah.
ends dog racing.
Boom, 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 boom.
Right. Everybody done seen the ads for this one.
But what I'm going to read is
The ads are
Amendment
out.
13 with the what's the name of this organization?
Oh, this is the Florida League of Cities.
Yeah, the Florida League of Cities with their beautiful Michigan colors. Y'all got Michigan colors on here. It says Florida ban on wagering on dog races.
Right.
Okay.
And the language is really simple on the amendment, on the
Yeah,
actual
it's-
ballot.
it's
It's
the-
like a line. It's a sentence.
It's one of the best ones on here.
Right.
Let's just read this one because it's the only one.
It's a sentence, literally.
Phases out commercial dog racing in connection with wagering by 2020. Other gaming activities are not affected.
2 sentences. My bad.
Do
2.
we let the Greyhounds go?
That's it. Do we let the Greyhounds go? The reason I say that this should have been bundled was basically this same CRC was like, fuck horses.
That's true.
Didn't even think about that until you said it.
So true.
Definitely thinking about the
Gulfstream's still up
Greyhound.
and running. Greyhound dog track, y'all out.
I didn't even process that until you said
That
it.
is so true.
You know what I'm saying? They could have gotten them both.
I'm writing down, what about the horses? That's what I'm putting.
So you can't do the dog and the horse. So we're going to focus
So
on the
mind
dog.
you, they can do drilling and vaping, but they can't do
Dude.
dogs and horses.
Can't
What
do two animals
about
together.
the
I wanted to let
horses?
you know that 37 people
About the horses.
got in a room and realized
This was a good idea.
that thought, you know what? Drilling, vaping together. Dogs gotta stand alone.
Right. But because they know.
Ain't no
people
other
love
animals out there that we
animals.
can include in this.
People are passionate about dogs. That's what that
It's
means.
true, though.
They know.
People love
They
their
know that.
dogs.
People love dogs.
I guess them
Have
horses.
you
ain't
ever
about this life.
seen them Greyhounds that come out of them little places?
Yeah. Yeah. They're like skinny and
They be shrivelly. It be
not
rough.
shrivelly. What is that?
Now the other more challenging piece to this.
That's 2 drinks in.
Hey,
They shrivelly.
now there is a nefarious, nasty little catch to this.
Yeah, share.
Oddly enough. So right now, under state law, if you run a gambling operation that is not Seminole Gaming, i.e.
Ooh, they want that monopoly.
Highlight, horses, dogs, you have to run your original intent. You know, whatever
Whatever it was.
whatever you were developed as, you still have to run races. So you have to run X amount of races per year in
To
order
stay.
to keep the slot machines and other games. that you
So
have
this
going
is the
on.
horse people trying to put their horses into more races.
No.
No.
This is basically what ends up happening is if you prohibit greyhound racing,
Right.
anything that started off as a greyhound track
Has to close.
has to close its doors.
So that's Naples. I know it's one in Naples.
Right. Unless they renegotiate the compact altogether. And so that's why they're and naturally they would be opposed to it. And don't get me wrong, I'm in favor of banning greyhound racing, but they hadn't fixed the first problem before. You're creating a problem. It's a problem in search of a solution, right? And that's the catch is like so you take literally Magic City.
Right.
Magic City used to be a greyhound track.
Okay.
So Magic City Casino still every once in a while has to run dogs.
A race.
If Magic City can't run dogs, then they are disqualifying themselves from running any other gaming.
So they have to close.
Which gives, okay, then I see the
So like
monopoly on the
Flagler.
gambling, yeah.
Yeah.
Flagler Greyhound?
So Highlight is fine because Highlight isn't touched by this. You know,
Gulfstream.
Gulfstream.
fine, isn't touched by this. Only former dog tracks would be impacted.
Shut
by
them
this.
down, come and buy them out, and then put your horses over there. That's what
Or
I'm saying.
Seminole just come in. Hey, we got a little micro Seminole Hard Rock Casino in your neighborhood.
This going to have to be a no.
That was a no for me. I know my dog lovers out there were like, but what about the dogs? I'm just
So
like,
we're
what about
not
these
we're
jobs,
not
though?
actually voting against the dogs. We're voting
Right.
against the monopoly of the whole.
Or just the way that they're trying to go about it and trying to limit other businesses because they want to sit there and have a monopoly over stuff.
Don't nobody run game like legislation run game.
Who you
Let me
telling?
tell you.
Who you telling?
I'm glad I could be here to drop a little science on y'all about the folks I used to work with.
So,
And I see why you became independent, because this would drive you insane.
Kristen
Listen.
Cox said, "Save the Greyhounds." Kristen, we want to save the Greyhounds, but not this way, because all we doing is gonna hurt the horses. If we save the Greyhounds, Mr. Ed gonna have to run a whole lot more, because they gonna just ship them to more.
But
locations.
not only that, going back to what Dwight said, it's about the jobs. Like now, those other casinos.
And it's also about the monopolies of the other casinos that have horses racing. They'll just come in and find a way to buy them out. Those properties got to shut down.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like they'll come in, take the gambling license, be like, all right, we're going to run quarter horses over here, or this, that, and the third. But it's messed up that it's like, you know, like of all the casinos that have popped up over the years, Magic City's become kind of one of the more diverse. You know, people have gone to concerts there.
Right.
You know, they put restaurants out there. They've done all this other stuff. But there's still this unfortunate little requirement that they have to run X amount of dog races annually in order to stay in operation. It's an antiquated thing that the state should have fixed, but they haven't done that yet.
Do it a different way.
So for a very small and brief recap.
Now I get why you went into the booth with your nose.
Yeah,
I get
my
it now.
nose.
So the only yes we have is yes on 4.
Correct. And that's where we started off. Big old yes on big old number 4. You know, and again,
But this one has a yes for the property tax and education.
yeah, that's a county question.
Okay,
We
so
didn't
that's
even touch on those.
okay.
Those
Yeah,
are
These
we
are
didn't do
just
that.
the constitutional amendments.
constitutional.
So for the constitutional amendments, the opinion. Well, let me make sure. Team Digital Grass, are y'all in agreement with everything that was saying?
Everybody's independent.
Which one did you oppose? Oh, you should have said that. That was the point of the show. Yes on 9. Okay, but you were everything else? Oh, okay. Close. All right, perfection. Little Miss Perfect. So you're at least saying yes on 4, right here? Okay. Okay, so this is not a consensus, but
Right.
where we're standing is no on everything but 4, and to your discretion and possibility on 9.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
And on dogs. Look, if you just really want to end the dogs.
Some
people may want to
It just
help
don't
the
work out the
dogs.
way it's supposed to.
I'm just saying, some people want to help
If
the dogs.
you vote that way, you better go adopt one of them dogs, because
Because what they gonna do? Where they going?
euthanize them and they just gonna
Right.
be dead.
Right.
If they ain't running, they dead. Sorry, Greyhound. It's just y'all should have picked another logo. It's a bad branding. It doesn't work out. That's why Greyhounds were always so grimy. Then they tried to clean it up with a little slick Greyhound. It didn't work.
But for the folks in Miami, you know, I know they got some county questions, and I know you brought it up, Mike. So the school board question about raising teacher salaries was a yes for me, and that's what that is. You know, so for the teachers out there, absolutely yes on 362. Them other ones where they trying to ban folks from gathering petitions.
They trying to shut you down?
Yeah.
Trying to shut
So we
brother
talked
down.
about this before we got on air, but share a little bit about that one.
So there are 2 county questions on petition gathering. One puts a ban on gathering petitions altogether. People who pay people to gather petitions.
That's gonna be a no for me, dog.
Right.
I gotta let Dwight do his thing.
And then the second question says that the county would then be able to decide how many petitions you need to gather in order to change
That's
something.
gonna be a no for me. Okay.
Right.
So we still stuck with a whole bunch of
Whole
no's.
bunch of no's.
Oh, listen, I was bubbling no left and right.
So
I got
Nasli,
carpal tunnel syndrome for so many no's. So it's crazy.
Nasli says, "How does she become a consultant?" I'm not sure if that was a real question. Or
She wants some of that money. She was like,
I get
so
these coins. Don't register as a lobbyist, just consult.
consult.
Weber Charles came on late, but since he asked, any recommendations for governor? Yes, sir. That is our recommendation for
You
governor.
can only choose one.
We are going blue.
You can only choose
We are bringing it home. I'm just making sure any camera my cameraman has
Right.
is on you.
All 3. Bah.
Just bring it home, Weber
Parallax
Charles.
slow motion
Bring-
graphics.
Right. Gotta do it for the hype.
Bring it home, Weber Charles. That's all you need to know.
And one time for
Everybody
his wife, my Sora and Link sister,
Yes.
RJ.
Yes. For
So
the
you
chocolate
either
babies.
wearing blue or you wearing orange or green that day. Them victory posters will be going on sale.
Right.
All I'm saying
Immediately.
is that the inauguration is on January 8th in Tallahassee, Florida.
Oh, that party
which
gonna
is
be
on a
off the chain.
Tuesday. So that Wednesday at Top Flight, January
gonna be-
9th,
it's
it is
cold and
going
in
to
the
be
middle of the
a
week.
problem, okay? Cold middle of the week. Line's going to be wrapped around.
If
the
you
court.
have
Get
any
there.
questions, you better put them in the box right now.
Right.
So
Because we about to wrap.
we're about to wrap this up. I think out of all the shows we've done, this has probably been one of our most impactful shows.
And most informative, for
Yes,
sure.
I think this is definitely the reason why we put together spreading content to educate people. And this is definitely for a lot of people that might be watching, and we get a lot of people watching in Atlanta, Chicago, New York. This may not have affected you in any way, shape, or form.
But hopefully it inspired you.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. If you are watching, you need to find somebody that's a voice in your community and take the time to break this down and explain it to people. So, Kristen, Weber, any of our guests, y'all don't have any more questions? Do we want to leave with any? I don't even really have a today's ignorance besides for Mr. DeSantis.
Well, go ahead, drop it.
So, for today's ignorance, Mr. DeSantis, this is my problem with you, sir. Address my brother by his respectful name, the Honorable Mayor Gillum. Do not call him Andrew. We know what you're trying to do. Calling him by his first name was nothing but another way of saying boy. You came real close to the lines of people trying to find out where you was at and getting rolled up on. Respect that man. And the fact of the matter is, do not be mad at him, because not only is he savvy, is he slick, and does he have those zingers? You should have just came prepared. You cannot be mad at a young man being prepared for his job. And Andrew simply has more experience from you. From everything he's done at FAMU to being the president of Young Elected Officials Network, Andrew has put in his work. He has put in his dedication, and he is doing the things. It's one thing to spread lies. It's another thing that you can only focus on 2 lies to try to bring him down. As we would say for you, your game is weak, son. You just got to step it up. It's not working out. And the fact that you keep harping on the same thing,
Same thing.
we know we got it in the bag. We just don't want to say that because we don't want too many people to get comfortable and not go home to vote. So it's not about winning. It's how bad we're going to beat you. That's the conversation we want to have. So quit disrespecting a educated black man that has fought for his rights, that is doing everything to uplift every Floridian in the state of Florida. Until you can actually prove that you aren't racist, until you turn back that $145,000 and quit worrying about $250, maybe you should just walk away. But until then, his name is the Honorable Mayor Andrew Gillum. And if you can't say all those words, you shouldn't be the governor in the first place.
Word.
So that is going to be my closing statement. And I would really
Yes.
I think you should just come back on the show in general. I think we should run this just like Trevor
Absolutely.
Noah. And
The
just
road
have-
to the road to Tallahassee.
Shout out to Roy Wood Jr., also a FAMU graduate on
So
the Daily Show.
thank you to our 200 guests that have joined us in the lobby today and all the support. Thank you to the Knight Foundation, Cosmology, Digital
Yes.
Grass. As currently due to voting situations, it is Culture Infused Creations. Yes, there was no products.
Oh, there was a third option.
Culture Infused Company. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm going to go. That's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, they red flagged that already. It's going to be a no for me, dog.
That's a no for me, dog.
So we ran over a little bit, but as we said, this was informative and issues like
Necessary.
this is going to be very necessary. But more than anything, we do need to say this. Do not sit, like Dwight addressed it in the beginning, do not sit at home and consider this to be a done deal. Get out and vote, early vote, take the time to vote. Do not skip the early vote so you can sit at home, relax. You only got two or three yeses you might put on here anyway. But take the time to vote. Your vote does matter. And just remember, anybody, you have people that have died and fought for the right to vote. There's no need for you to be lazy. If you can post a tweet, if you can take an Instagram, if you can take a selfie, you have the ability to vote.
Listen, take all that social activism to the ballot box.
And one thing that people don't appreciate is once you vote, actually vote, the phone calls and text messages stop.
Good points.
Incentive. So, they have to update. When'd you vote? Okay. They might be slow to respond. Look at you. Go ahead. Do your thing. But yeah, definitely get out there and vote. Definitely get out there. Support the candidates and decisions of your choice. You have that right. But understand that, people are out there to intentionally confuse you. And don't think everyone's trying to work in your best interest. So it's good and healthy to be skeptical of certain things, because at the end of the day, government is and should be us. And when you have other folks stepping in to influence you and do things and sort of give you or spoon feed you what you think you should know, it's no bueno.
Yeah, tell everybody where they can find you, because people may still have questions and want to talk about it some more. How can they get in contact with you?
Where we can get this packet at. This is what you're looking for.
No doubt. So again, if you want the bright yellow packet,
the Michigan colors.
If you want the Go Blue bright yellow packet, you can get that by Googling Florida League of Cities Amendments 2018. It probably be the first thing that pops up. You can print out your own. You can also check out the League of Women Voters. They have a voter guide as well that is more for digitally inclined folks. It's actually mobile ready. You can actually pull that up on your phones. They have a more diverse grouping on their voting. They actually vote yes on a couple other things, and they'll give you their reasons why. I gave you my reasons why. But definitely do your research. And you can find me at the New Florida Majority, newfloridamajority.org, and on Facebook, Instagram, and everything else, at Dwight Bullard.
There it is.
Well, y'all know this has been another episode of Tech Beats and Bytes, but just so you don't forget.
Right.
We're out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.